Hey guys, today I am really happy that I didn't expect the first person in today's documentary to be this little guy. Usually, when we point a camera at people, they either ignore it or walk away. But today was different. He came straight to the camera, smiled, said hi, and walked away. As he has been waiting for this moment. Sometimes the smallest interaction become the best way to begin a journey. We had been given a short break because of Muharram. Along with that weekend, it became a 3-day holiday. Just enough time to leave the hostel and spend a little time with my family before returning to the college again. So, with my backpack on my shoulder and my camera in my hand, I stepped outside. The rain had stopped only a little while ago. Everything looked fresh. The leaves still carry tiny drops of water. The road reflected the cloudy sky. The cool breeze after the rain made the walk feel peaceful. Sometimes nature doesn't need dramatic mountains or waterfall to be beautiful. Even an ordinary college campus can feel completely different after a good rain. Instead of rushing, I slowed down. I continued walking through the campus side, passing familiar path that I had crossed a hundred of times before. On most days, this is just another walk to class, but today every step felt different. Today, I was not walking towards a lecture hall. I was walking towards home. Soon I reached the entrance of college where students were already waiting at the bus stop. Some were chatting with friends, some were checking their phone, some were quietly waiting for next bus. One thing that immediately catch my attention was most of the people waiting were women. There is an interesting reason behind that. In Kerala, many women can travel free of cost on eligible ordinary KSRTC buses under the Priyadarshini scheme. Because of this, many passengers prefer waiting for those buses instead of boarding private buses, especially when they are not in a hurry. It's a small example of how public transport policy can influence everyday travel habit. So, when a private bus arrived, I climbed aboard, found a place to sit, and the journey officially began. Home was getting a little closer every kilometer. After a short ride, I reached the Kannur bus stand. Like most bus stand in India, it was full of life. Buses arrived one after another. Conductors called out destinations. Passengers hurried with bag in their hands. Small shops were busy serving teas and snacks. The entire place had its own rhythm. Instead of rushing directly to the railway station, I decided to walk through the city for a while. Sometimes the best part of journey is in the destination. After walking for quite some time, I started feeling something that every student know very well: hunger. When you are traveling, hunger feels different. It's not just about eating something, it slowly take over your thoughts. You start looking at every shops, every restaurant, every food board, wondering where to stop. As I kept walking, I saw KFC on the roadside. For a moment, I looked at it. It's one of those places almost everyone recognizes. Bright lights, familiar logo, people coming in and out. I stood there for a second, but then I kept walking. Not because there was anything wrong with it. Sometimes you simply feel like continuing your walk. Sometimes you are not looking for the first place you see. You are looking for the place that feels right at that moment. So I continued walking through the streets with my backpack on my shoulder and a train waiting somewhere ahead. There wasn't any hurry yet. I just want to enjoy this small part of the journey. One thing I have started appreciating is that traveling isn't only about reaching a destination, it's also about these little moments in between. Walking without a plan, looking around, watching people, listening to traffic, seeing shops you normally won't notice. After walking a little further, I finally saw Domino's. I smiled a little because I already know what I wanted pizza. Now I should tell you something. Pizza isn't something I eat regularly. In fact, I have only had pizza a couple of times in my life. Maybe only 2 times in my life. Like many students, I am still financially dependent on my parents. So I naturally think twice before spending money on food like this. When every rupees matter, you begin asking yourself some questions. Do I really need this today? Can I manage with something cheaper? Those thoughts become a habit. Maybe that's why these small treats feel much more valuable. They were not everyday meals. They are little reward that come once in a while. So today I decided to enjoy one of those moments. I walked in, looked around, and placed my order. It's funny how food can change your mood. A few minutes ago, I was just another tired student walking through town with a heavy backpack. Now I was simply going to have a hot pizza. After a long waiting time of 30 minutes, I finally get my order. I am not a food reviewer, so I won't pretend to describe every flavor. But I can tell you this, after walking for so long with an empty stomach, its taste really good. Maybe hunger is the best seasoning. Sometimes it's not the food itself that make a memorable meal. It's the situation. You are hungry, you are traveling, you are taking a short break before continuing your journey, and somehow an ordinary meal become part of the story. I sat there without rushing. Outside, people were busy with their own lives. Some were shopping, some were going to work, some were probably catching train just like me. A few minutes I wasn't thinking about college, assignment, editing videos, or anything else. I was just enjoying the present moment. I think we often forget to do that. We are always worried about the next destination, the next exam, the next responsibility, the next goal. But life also happens in these quiet little breaks. The pizza may not be a big event for many people, but for me, it becomes one of those simple memories that I will probably remember whenever I pass this place again. It's strange how our minds work. Years later, we don't always remember the expensive things. We remember the feeling, the walk, the hunger, the relief, the taste, and the journey that continued afterwards. With my stomach finally full and my energy back, it was time to leave. The train won't wait for me forever, right? Even though I have heard about Domino's for years, this was actually my first time eating here. Maybe because this little luxury don't happen very often in my life. That's exactly why experiences like this feel special. I stepped out of Domino's with a full stomach, picked up my backpack once again, and started walking towards the railway station. Sometimes, after having a good meal, the world feels a little slower. The streets of Kannur were busy as always. Vehicles were moving in every direction. People were walking with purpose. Shops were still open, and everyone seems to be chasing something. Every person I crossed had a destination of their own. Some were probably returning home after work. Some were heading towards a shop. Some might have been waiting for someone. And here I was, just another student carrying a backpack trying to make it back home. At that moment, I wasn't worried. In my mind, I still had enough time. I had convinced myself that my train would arrive another 10 or 15 minutes later. So instead of rushing, I continued walking at my own pace, enjoying the city one last time before leaving. As I slowly approached the railway station, something catch my attention. There it was, my train. Standing on the railway station for a second, I didn't react. I simply looked at it. My first thought wasn't that I was late. My first thought was, why is the train already here? I honestly believed I still had time. Maybe it has just arrived. Maybe it would remain there for a few more minutes. So I continued walking, normally calmly, without an urgency. Everything changed. The train started moving. It took me a second to realize what was happening. This is my train, not tomorrow's train, not another train, this one. Without thinking twice, I tightened the strap of my backpack and started running. People were walking in every direction. Announcements were playing through the speaker. At that moment, nothing else mattered. Not the documentary, not the camera, not the perfect shot. Only one thing, catch the train. It's funny how quickly our priorities changes. Just a minute ago I was peacefully enjoying the city. Now I was running with everything I had. Thankfully, I made it. The moment I stepped inside the coach, I let out a deep breath. That feeling, the feeling of catching your train at the very last moment. It's a mixture of relief, excitement, and a little bit of embarrassment. I found a seat and finally sat down. For a second, I wasn't thinking about filming anything. I was simply happy that I had not missed my journey home. But another question immediately came into my mind. Should I even shoot inside the train? Documentary, filmmaking, sounds exciting when people watch the final video. But in reality, filming in public is something completely different. You are surrounded by strangers, everyone is looking at you. You don't want to disturb anyone, you don't want to invade anyone's privacy. You keep wondering whether people will misunderstand what you are doing. That hesitation is real, and I felt it. The coach was fairly crowded. People were talking, some were scrolling endlessly on their phone, some were sleeping, some were quietly looking outside. Vendors walked through the aisle. The train had its own rhythm. I quietly kept my camera beside me for a while. I simply observed. Then I remembered myself why I had started making documentary in the first place. Not to capture perfect shoots, but to capture real moments. So I slowly took out the camera. Instead of pointing it directly at people, I started recording the small things, the moments of train, the vibration of window, the passing stations, the reflection of glass, the evening light entering the compartment. And something interesting happened. The train suddenly looked completely different. I have traveled by train many times before, but those journeys were different. Most of the time, I would simply wear my earphone, open my phone, scroll endlessly through social media, watch random videos, reply to messages, and before I realized it, the destination would arrive. Sometimes I would sleep through the journey. Sometimes I would not even remember which station I had crossed. But this time it wasn't just traveling, I was observing. I realized how different the world looks when you are not staring at a screen. Outside the window, trees disappeared behind us within seconds. Small houses appeared and vanished. Bridges came and went. Stations arrived one after another. People got in, people got out. Every station carried hundreds of stories. Every passenger had a reason to travel. Some were students like me, some were workers returning home after a long day, some were visiting family, some were beginning completely new chapter of their lives. Inside one train coach, hundreds of different lives briefly come together before separating again. And yet, most of us spend the entire journey looking down at a 6-inch screen. It's ironic. The world outside keeps changing every second, but we rarely look at it. As I kept observing, one incident reminded me that beautiful journey also reveals uncomfortable truths. A mother and her young child were sitting nearby. After some time, they opened their lunch. The mother lovingly fed her child. It was a warm moment to watch. It reminded me of every family journey I have ever seen. Once they finished eating, she collected the leftovers into a plastic cover. For a second, I thought she would keep it until reaching the next dustbin. Instead, she opened the window and threw the entire plastic bag outside. It disappeared beside the railway track. I was genuinely shocked. A few minutes later, the child finished eating a pack of chips. Without even thinking, the child also threw the empty packet outside. At that moment, I was not angry. I was sad because children don't learn this habit on their own. They learn by watching us. We often say that the next generation should become more responsible. But responsibility is not taught through speeches, it taught through everyday actions. If a child grow up watching adult throw plastic outside moving train, the child will naturally believe that it is normal, and somewhere far away a railway cleaning worker will have to clean something they never threw. Sometimes we blame governments for dirty public places. Sometimes we blame the railway department. But many problems begins with ordinary people making ordinary choices. Public spaces belong to all of us. Keeping them clean is not only the responsibility of cleaning staff, it's also ours. That small incident stay in my mind for a long time. 3 hours has passed almost without me noticing. The announcement finally mentioned my hometown station. That familiar feeling returned. No matter how many places we travel, there is something special about hearing the name of your own station. I picked my backpack one last time, stepped out into the platform. The air felt different. It felt familiar. Outside the station, one person was waiting. It's my father. Some moments never become ordinary, no matter how old we grow. Seeing someone waiting to take us home still feels comforting. The golden evening faded into shades of orange, the blue, and the darkness. One by one, the lights started appearing outside houses, street lamps, small shops. After days of hostel life assignments, I was back where everything began. People often think documentaries need extraordinary adventures, but I don't believe that anymore. Sometimes the most meaningful stories are hidden inside ordinary journeys. I walk through a city, a missed train that was not actually missed, a conversation with a stranger, a lesson about civic sense, a sunset seen through a train window. And this journey was never just about traveling from one place to another, it was about returning to the people who make every journey feel complete. Sometimes happiness isn't found in expensive destination or grand adventures. Sometimes happiness is simply reaching home, sharing a meal with your family, and being grateful for another ordinary day that quietly become a beautiful memory. After having a good dinner with my family, and with that this journey come to an end. Thank you for traveling with me. I will see you in the next story. So bye bye to everyone.